You talked about your college education.
Yes.
You weren't thrilled by college, not because it was Duke,
Yeah.
but because it was college.
Yeah, when I went to college, I remember first semester of my freshman year, I was so disappointed because I expected to be thrown into, this great experience that was going to help me to become someone who could be
And a
of
love
service.
affair with learning.
And a love affair with learning, exactly.
And it didn't happen?
It didn't happen at first. Eventually it did. I ended up getting an incredible education at Duke University. I had wonderful professors, but I also had, as part of my education, a boxing coach, Earl Blair, in Durham, North Carolina, who was also a really important part of my education.
So why boxing for you?
Well, my grandfather had boxed in the Depression, and I remember growing up, I always heard these stories from him about boxing and boxers, and I was curious about it. And then finally, when I went to Duke, I had a chance to explore it, and I went down to the city in Durham. I found a gym there, and I ended up finding this great boxing coach, Earl Blair, my training partner, Derek Humphrey, and we fought together almost every night that I was in college.
Did you continue that when you went to Oxford?
I did. I went to Oxford, and Oxford actually had a great boxing team and a really good boxing program, and had a great coach there as well, Henry Dean.
But you also said that at Oxford you found a kind of joy about learning and about the pursuit of the poetry of life.
Yeah. One of the things that was so great about Oxford was that even when I was doing a master's degree, you didn't have to do a lot of there wasn't this constant daily pressure behind the academic work. You were free to pursue anything that you wanted to do. And all you had to do at the end of 2 years was to show up and pass an exam. So as long as you were on track to do that, you could pursue whatever intellectual interests you had. And then combined with that, Oxford had these long breaks, and so I could leave Oxford and I could go to work with Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity. I could go to Cambodia and work with kids who'd lost limbs to landmines. I could go to Albania. And so it was that ability to combine that great intellectual freedom with the possibility of really doing that service work abroad that made for a great education.
So you get out of Oxford at you're 26.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to get into the Navy SEALs, you have to be less than 28,
Yes,
correct?
exactly.
So, but why the SEALs for you?
So part of what was the attraction of the SEAL teams was this incredible test. A lot of people have heard about BUDS, the Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training. It's considered to be the hardest military training in the world. And part of
Why is it considered to be the hardest?
Well, they put you through some incredibly tough tests. So they ask you, for example, to swim 50 meters underwater in your first week. They later ask you to swim down 50 feet and tie a knot. They do things like drown proofing, where they tie your feet together and tie your hands behind your back and make you jump in the pool. Yeah. And then swim 50 meters with your feet tied together and your hands tied behind your back. In our class, we had over 220 people.
20.
In our original class, and we went down to 20.
Right. So 10%.
Yeah, 10% of us made it through in the original class.
And those that don't make it, you have said, is because fear overcame them.
Yes.
And the thing that had the people who succeeded, how did they handle fear?
So what happens is, as you're going through BUDS, you are pushed to your physical, mental, and emotional limits and past. You're pushed way past the envelope of your talent to the core of your character. And what happens is everyone is in great pain. Everyone is afraid.
Pain.
Great pain. Searing pain when you're going through a lot of the physical training. Real serious pain. But what happens is people either start thinking about themselves, and they think about all of the pain that they're in. They think about all of the fear about what might happen. And that leads them to collapse. Others who are in that great moment, I remember for myself, there were times when I was thinking, if I were alone, I might not make it. But there's a guy to my left and there's a guy to my right, and they both need me to be strong. And it's if you can step outside of yourself, even in that moment of great pain, and think about what you have to do for others, that's what makes you strong, that's what gets you through, and that's ultimately what creates these incredible teams.